Stat Rollers, Bill with Roll Stats, and this week we're going to do something really fun. We're going to roll up a BX character for a game that I'm going to be playing in with Jody over at Questwise. Actually, it's a BX game that Jody over at Questwise will be running. He's going to be running it for myself and Dave from DravenSwiftbow, as well as I think Eric Bloat from Bloat Games is going to be playing as well, and a couple other people, I'm not sure yet. I need to roll up a character using the basic rules, the BX rules. He said we could either use the Rule Cyclopedia rules or the BX rules because it's really the same in terms of character creation, but he's setting his game in the Northern Reaches, so we get to use this Gazetteer as well to flesh out the character a little bit further. So I know I already ran through character creation in Basic before, but I'm going to re-roll it because instead of just creating a character with the basic rules, well, or the Rule Cyclopedia, you know, instead of using only these books, Questwise is actually setting his campaign in the Northern Reaches, so we're allowed to use this Gazetteer as well, which is going to give us a few extra skills related to the background of the Northmen and where they come from and, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm going to be a man of the North, right? And so I guess that means I'm going to know nothing because we all know...
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
So I thought, when I heard this, I thought it would be really cool to show you stat rollers what it was like to roll up a character, and we're going to do this 3d6, but he said we don't have to go 3d6 in order. We can do 3d6 and then assign them wherever we'd like, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you how to build up a character and how to tie in skills and abilities that are tied, you know, in these Gazetteers, the Gazetteers that came out related to the BECMI system. I'm going to show you how to tie those skills and abilities and backgrounds into a basic character, and we're going to flesh out a character and see what I get. Let's hope that the dice gods smile on me as I roll this up, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's actually do that right now. So a little bit of background. I'm actually pretty excited that I'm actually going to get to play. I don't get to play all that much. I generally am just running games. The thing about being a DM is once you agree to be a DM, and if you're any good at it at all, then you're just the DM. You don't get to play anymore. So I'm excited that Questwise have volunteered to run this game. And I'm actually really excited that we get to pull in some of the Gazetteer material. For those of you who are not familiar with this book, or with the Gazetteers in general, this was a series of books that was released to support the BECMI system. These aren't really BX books. BX is Basic and Expert, so Basic and Expert Dungeons & Dragons. The Gazetteers rolled out later to really flesh out the campaign world, the world of Mystara, and that's really what these Gazetteers do. These Gazetteers build out and flesh out the campaign world of Mystara, so I'm sure most of you are used to playing in the Forgotten Realms. So you have Sword Coast Adventurers guys, that sort of thing, that builds out the Forgotten Realms and the campaign world that you're playing in, so not necessarily, although it does add some game mechanics, it's really more about fleshing out the lore and the different worlds. These do the same thing. So this is going to add some mechanics, some new mechanics, which is why I wanted to run through the character creation with you with this particular book. Really, this book describes the lore, the legend, and the history of the Northern Reaches. This book is Scandinavia, right? Like think the Vikings when you're thinking through this book. This is going to give me some additional skills, and this is going to give me some background that I can choose from, and, you know, we'll walk through some extra steps, but it's really going to help to flesh out the character and make it a more full-fledged, full-blooded character. I can't tell you how excited I am to see how this rolls out. Essentially, what we'll do is we'll take the basic rules and we'll create a character, and then once that basic shell of a character is created, we'll go back through. There's an additional set of steps and rules within the Northern Reaches Gazetteer itself that's going to add some additional flavor for us, some backgrounds, where we're from, and you know, some additional skills and abilities that we might know based on the fact that we're a Viking, that we're a man of the North. Your DM can choose to include or disallow anything within, you know, this Gazetteer. Elves and halflings are not common within the Northern Reaches, right? And dwarves, although there are many dwarves within the Northern Reaches, they are looked down upon a little bit. Dwarves are not necessarily liked within the Northern Reaches, right? So I don't know. I'm thinking actually I might, since I'm rolling 3d6 and I get to assign them wherever I'd like, I might actually play a dwarf character. I think it'll lead to some good roleplay opportunities, and I'd like to see how the different players in the game are going to react to a dwarf being in the party. We'll see though. You know, depending on my dice rolls and certainly depending on how I'm feeling, I might play a dwarf, I might play a fighter, I might play a cleric. I could, Questwise said that, you know, he'll work everyone together regardless. I could play an elf or a halfling if I wanted to. I am not that big on halflings. I don't particularly care for halflings. Regardless of the system, I'm not a big halfling person. I don't particularly care for gnomes or halflings, but hey, that's me. I don't think that I'm going to play an elf because I am not a big caster. I don't particularly care to play casters. If I do play a caster, I generally will play a cleric. Although he's a caster, he's really sort of a frontline fighter as well. I'm not big on playing casters, and but that's just a personal preference. Again, Questwise has said that we could choose any character and class that we want, and that he'll tie it all together, which is great. The Northern Reaches, ironically enough, the Northern Reaches are one of my favorite areas to play in Mystara. So when he said he was using this book, I immediately, I jumped at the chance earlier. As soon as he said he was going to run, I completely jumped on it. But when he said that he was going to be using this book and that we got to choose from these options, I was ecstatic, right? This is actually one of my favorite areas of Mystara. This is actually one of my favorite Gazetteers. Generally, when I play, I think I like to play a Viking, a barbarian. I like to play a frontline, battle-hardened character. That's just, again, that's my preference. So I was super excited when he said that we were going to use this book. This book is broken up into two different portions, right? Oh, by the way, I ordered this book off of the DM's Guild, and it is available in print on demand as well as PDF. I'll leave a link below to this Gazetteer, to the Northern Reaches Gazetteer on DM's Guild. If you're interested, you can go and check it out. These Gazetteers are kind of cool because they do build out Mystara, but they also give you additional abilities and skills for your character. They help to flesh it out a little bit further. If you need some help, it gives you some lore, it gives you some legend, gives you history of the Northern Reaches, and it will add some cool abilities and skills as we'll go through. The thing is, though, and as we go through, I'll show you when we get to the player section of this, it also adds some negatives. So in other words, it was a balanced skill and ability system. For every sort of skill and ability that you get, something gets taken away, and you'll see when we go through this, you'll see exactly what I mean. But what I was saying was this book is actually broken up into two sections, kind of like the rules themselves, where it's broken up into a player section and a DM section. This is actually broken up into a DM section and a player section. Everything from the what everyone knows section on through, so the back of the book is really the players section. Good information for the players to allow them to flesh out their characters further. It goes through the different kingdoms, what everyone would know about the different kingdoms, Ostland and Vestland, major cities, through what society is like, what law is like, what is life like within the Northern Reaches. It gives you a lot of information that you can pull into your character, but there's also specific rules, and this is what I was talking about earlier, for creating a Northman character. So once you create your initial basic character, once you follow those rules within the basic rule set, you come back through, there's an additional set of steps, 7 different steps that you can go through. Some of them are optional. I'm actually going to run through all of them and utilize all of them just so I can show you guys how you would, build out this character. But it really is, so it's going to be a two-step system. Step 1 is going to be create your initial character, and then step 2 is going to be follow the 7 steps to create an actual Northman, and we're going to run through them all. So let me just grab my dice god and rub his head a couple times, and then we'll run through and I'll roll some dice and we'll see what I get. So what we're looking at is part 2 player character information. This is page B5 in the Moldvay basic rules. And this basically just runs through the different steps that you would take to create your initial character. Again, like I said, it's going to be 2 steps. I'm going to create this first, then I'll run through the specific steps within the Gazetteer. But first, we have to roll some dice. I'm going to mark these down on the side. I do have a character sheet. I'm going to fill out a character record sheet. But right now, as I said, Questwise is allowing us, he's being very nice, he's allowing us to roll 3d6, but not assign them in order, so I get to assign them wherever I want. So I'm just going to write them down on my handy dandy notepad here as I roll the dice, and then I'll assign them later and we'll flesh my character out. So I have my handy dandy dice god. This is my dice god. I rub him for good luck, rub his little head whenever I'm going to roll dice. All right, so here we go. We're coming out. I'm going to rub the dice god, rubbing the dice god's head. We're coming out. Here comes roll 1. Are you ready? Are everybody ready for roll 1? Watch it roll out. That is 13. Okay, 13 as a first roll is good. I'm happy with a 13 as a first roll. Again, keep in mind, that's not my strength. I mean, that could be my strength, but Jody is allowing me to roll, 3d6 6 times and assign them where I would like. So I might end up assigning that my strength, or I might end up assigning that somewhere else. But my first roll is a 13. Let's rub the little dice god's head here for the second roll and see what happens. That is 9. 9 for my second roll. That's not bad at all. Again, I know you guys are thinking like a 9, but like a 9 is actually pretty good when you're rolling 3d6. The bell curve sort of measures it out. You're not going to get those crazy rolls. So I'm okay with a 9. I'm going to go ahead and rub my dice god's head again here, and we are going to take our third roll here, and let's hope for 3 6s. 3 6s coming out big. That is 15. So that's a 15 on my third roll. That is a good score. What else? I know, again, you guys are like, a 15? That's middle of the road. No, a 15 is actually what I would consider exceptional in BX, right? Like, I am totally happy with a 15. I don't know where I'm going to assign that yet, but I'm happy with that 15 roll. Here comes number 4. Here we go with number 4. Coming out strong. That is another 15. Okay, so that's 2 15s in a row. Now we're getting somewhere, right? So I really don't have anything that's below the curve or anything that I would consider not good. My lowest stat score right now is a 9. I have a 15, a 15, a 9, and a 13 so far. That is a strong character in BX. So here we go, number 5 alive. Here we go, giving me those 3 6s. That is 10, 14. Okay, so this is a strong character. I'm telling you right now that this is a strong character. I have not had a single roll that I am displeased with or that I would consider that the dice gods let me down on. I would actually say that my dice god is smiling at me right now, but this is our last roll, right? This is our last roll. We want an 18 on this one. Let's just give him a little rub. And here we go. Roll number 6. Is a 9, 10. Okay, wah. That one, again, 10. Still phenomenal, but, I wanted a really big, nice ending. But, all in all, here's what we ended up with, right? A 13, a 9, a 15, a 15, a 14, and a 10. Those are phenomenal numbers. Those are going to be great numbers for my character. I don't know at this point what I'm going to be yet, but I'm feeling like he might be a cleric, and I'll probably put one of those 15s in strength and one of those 15s in wisdom. Or I could go with a fighter and put one of those 15s in strength and one of those 15s in constitution. I'm okay with these numbers. I'm feeling really good. Quite frankly, I could go a dwarf and do a 15 strength and a 15 constitution. But let's actually let's go through the next step and see what we do next in terms of creating our character. So now we'll figure out what sort of character that I'm going to get. I think that I'm probably going to go fighter. I was thinking that maybe I would go dwarf, but I want to reduce my wisdom so that I can raise my strength, because remember in BX, you're allowed to take 2 away from certain ability scores and add those to your prime requisite. And so a fighter can actually reduce wisdom to raise strength, which is his prime requisite. And I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to initially put a 15 in strength, and then I'm going to put 9 in intelligence. And then the wisdom, I'm actually going to put the 13 in wisdom, but we're going to bring that down. Dexterity, I'm going to put a 14 because a 14 is going to give me a -1 to armor class. And remember, a -1 to armor class is actually a good thing in BX. It's not a bad thing. I want my armor class to go down. So that will give me an adjustment. And then for my constitution, I'm going to put my other 15. That is going to give me 1 extra hit point per roll. And then in my charisma, I'm just going to put my 10. So these are really going to be where my stats are going to lie. However, what I am going to do, right, I'm going to pull 2 away from my wisdom, making it an 11, right? And I'm going to add 1 to my strength, making it a 16. So here's the thing. You can't reduce any ability score to below 9 to raise a prime requisite. So this is where I'm going to end up. I'm going to have a 16 strength, a 9 intelligence, an 11 wisdom, dexterity of 14, a constitution of 15, and a charisma of 10. That is a solid character. So first of all, that 16 in strength is going to give me plus 5% to earned experience because strength is my prime requisite. The 16 to strength is also going to give me a +2 to hit, damage, and opening doors. The intelligence of 9 is going to leave me flat. I just basically read native languages, generally 2. That wisdom of 11 is going to leave me flat, so normal base magic saving throws. So I don't get a positive or a negative modifier to my saving throw rolls. That dexterity of 14 is going to give me a +1 onto hit rolls for missile weapons. I get a -1 bonus to my armor class, and I'm getting a +1 bonus to my initiative. So I'm super happy with this. I am definitely going to be a frontline fighter. The constitution of 15 is going to give me an additional point, so +1 on my hit points, and the charisma of 10 leaves me flat. No adjustment to reactions. I'm not really going to be the face of the group, but I'm not going to cause any negatives either. And my maximum number of retainers will be 4, and the morale of those retainers will be 7. So all in all, what I'm saying is this is a solid solid character. And then we're going to go on to step 3, which is to read the sections on the character abilities and choose a class which best suit your character. I've already done that and we figured that out. So he is going to be a fighter. I've decided that he is going to be a fighter. And then write down any special abilities your character possesses because of your class. I'm not really getting anything special from my class, but again, I might be getting additional abilities and skills based on the Gazetteer, so we're going to hold off on that. Then step 5, read the section on ability score adjustments and then adjust your character's ability scores if so desired. I did, right? Like I already did that. That was when we took 2 away from wisdom and we adjusted my prime requisite of strength up, so we've already taken care of that. Consult the table of bonuses and penalties. We already did that, so apparently I jumped ahead in the steps. I'm sorry, I should have done this, but we're now like, we're all caught up, right? Set aside a section of the paper for experience points or XP as a new character. Mark down 0 for the number of starting XP. So I do have 0 XP, and my bonus and penalty is actually plus 5% based on my prime requisite being strength and my strength score of 16. The experience points that I need for the next level, for level 2, is 2,000. So I will mark that down. Step 8, determine the number of hit points your character has. So we're going to roll for hit points too, right? Like Questwise did not say that we get to start at max hit points. If we were starting at max hit points, fighters roll a D8. If I were starting with maximum, I would get 8 hit points plus my +1. I get to add my constitution modifier to my initial roll, but we're not assigning max because my DM didn't say that I could assign max. So we're going to roll. We're going to go straight by the book on this one. Let me pull out a handy dandy D8, and I need the dice god back again, right? I'm going to give a little rub to the dice god, and here we go. Let's see what we get. Okay, that's a 6, but I remember I get a +1, so that's actually 7. So I'm starting this game out with 7 hit points, right? I mean, it could have been worse. I could have rolled a 1 and started with 2, right? I'm good with my character stat rolls, and I am good with my hit points. The dice gods will smile on you. You just have to give them a chance. So let's go on to the next step. Step 9 is to read the section on character alignment, page B11, and choose an alignment for your character. I already know that I am going to be lawful. I like lawful characters. I like heroic characters. There's only a 3-point system within BX. There are no morality modifiers, but I think that a lot of people in BX had a tendency to go neutral because then you could either do good stuff or you could do bad stuff. I love to be lawful. I love to play lawful characters. I'm gonna be a lawful fighter, especially because I am a man of the North. I am a fine, upright warrior of the North. I am lawful as shit. So yeah, I'm definitely going lawful. So we'll put that in. And then let's go on to the next step. We're going to see how much stuff my character has. If we go back to the Northern Reaches Gazetteer, there's a section in there on inheritance and heyday gifts, things that your character has been bequeathed or gifted or inherited or what have you. And so I might get additional stuff, but for right now, we're going to determine exactly what my character has, right? And to do that, we're going to roll 3d6 and we're going to multiply that by 10, and that's going to give me the amount of gold that I have to buy my starting equipment. And yes, you do have to purchase your starting equipment. There's no pre-built pack. Although some DMs did that. Again, Questwise didn't call out that he was going to do that, so I'm assuming that I'm going to roll for my gold and then I'm going to purchase my equipment. So let's roll 3d6. Let's pull the dice god back and let's roll 3d6 and see what we get. Rubbing the dice god for luck, and here we go, right? Big numbers, big numbers. 3 6s right here. That's 11, 15. That's totally awesome. Here you can see 15. So that's 150 gold. I have 150 starting gold with which to purchase all of my equipment and things of that nature, right? I'm going to go purchase my equipment and then I'll show you what I purchased. You don't want to watch me go through and pick my stuff, but I am going to go through and I'm going to buy all of my stuff, and then I'll come back and I'll show you a tally of what I purchased with my 150 gold and why. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went through and I spent my 150 gold. Actually, I spent 142 of it and I have 8 gold pieces left, but here's what I ended up with, right? So I purchased a backpack, 12 iron spike, 50-foot length of rope, 1 large sack, 2 small sacks, a tinder box, a wine skin, 2 weeks worth of iron rations, 6 torches, and a small hammer. And then in terms of my weapons, a normal sword, a longbow, 20 arrows, and chainmail. My concept here at this point, we haven't gone through the Gazetteer, so I haven't fully fleshed out my character yet, but my concept is this is a pretty rough and tumble Viking, right? Like, my character is going to be versatile. With his dex score, he's going to get, remember, a +1 to hit. So I wanted to give him a longbow, and I wanted to give him a normal sword because he's really going to be good frontline melee as well. He has an additional hit point from Constitution, and he also has a -1 to armor class. So although my AC of 5 for chainmail is actually going to be, I'm going to end up with an armor class of 4 because I get to, you know, a -1 modifier. I could have given him a shield for an additional bonus, but I kind of get the feeling that my character thinks that shields are weak. Nobody needs a damn shield, right? He's going to charge headfirst into the fray. I thought for a little bit about making him a two-handed weapon fighter, so think like a battle axe or a greatsword, a two-handed sword, but I don't think that that plays in very well to his versatility. Again, he's going to be a versatile fighter, so he can attack from range or he can attack melee, and so I decided to go with just a normal sword and a bow because I think it fits my character better. But we'll see how that works out, and again, when we get into the Gazetteer, we'll see if he gets any additional abilities or skills that are going to help flesh that out even further. But we're going on to the next step, which is going to be to assign our armor class. Again, I don't have to consult the table. I already know.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
You would consult the table to get your armor classes. You can see armor class for chainmail is an armor class of 5, but remember, I get my -1 modifier based on my dexterity, so my final armor class is going to be 4. So my armor class right now is a 4. And I know, again, you stat rollers who are used to playing 5e are like, 4, that's insane. And a 4 is not actually that bad. A 4 is actually pretty good because we are playing descending armor class. He's not the best, but I feel that his constitution is good enough. Plus, he is so versatile, he could attack from range if it really came down to it. I'm actually super pleased with the way the dice god smiled at me on this particular character. I'm super pleased with this character so far. So that takes us to step 13. Next step, this is Thaco, right? Like all you guys are like, oh, Thaco. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard, right? So you consult the table on B27. You know, it's going to be a 19 without modifiers. So my Thaco with a ranged attack is going to be different than my Thaco with a melee attack. So it'll actually be a 17 in melee, and it'll be an 18 at ranged because I get a +1 for my ranged attacks and I get a +2 for my melee attack. And I'll go through and I'll fix that later. But Thaco is not hard at all. So for example, let's say I had no modifiers. Let's say that my to hit armor class 0 was just a 19, right? Straight 19. Well, Bill, how do I know what I need to hit somebody with, say, an armor class of 7? Well, if I know that my to hit armor class 0 is 19 and the armor class is 7, I simply subtract 7 from 19 and I need a 12 or better to hit. What if my opponent has an armor class of 3? Subtract 3 from 19 and I know that I need a 16 or better to hit. Thaco is not hard. I don't understand why people make Thaco out to be this really complicated system. It's simple subtraction as you do in your head. You don't like you just subtract the armor class from your to hit armor class 0. That's your magic number. If you know, like, you have to consult the table to get your Thaco score, but then once you have your Thaco score, it's as simple as subtracting the armor class from your magic number, from your Thaco number, and then you have your number that you need to hit. You can do it on the fly. You can do it in your head. DMs, you can do it in your head. It's not as complicated as a system as everyone makes it out to be. It's really not. But I mean, I get it. I get ascending armor class is probably more intuitive in what you're used to, but just know Thaco is not hard. Whatever the armor class is, subtract it from your magic number, which is your Thaco number. That's your number that you need or better, right? Well, before modifiers, you're going to add the modifiers, but it's not hard. It's not hard at all, trust me. So once we have our Thaco thing figured out, and again, like I said, you guys are now, you're old pros at Thaco now. You guys know the secret. You know the trick. I revealed it. I wonder if like the grognards are all going to come after me now for revealing the secret, because it's not hard. It's just not hard. But now I have to figure out my saving throws. I do have to consult a table to get my saving throws. I don't have any positive or negative modifiers to my saving throws based on my stats, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull those now and I'll fill them in. So you'll see on page B26 there's a saving throw chart. It's really as simple as looking up your class on the left here. So my character class is a fighter. So in order, I'll just go ahead and fill them in. Again, I don't have any positive or negative modifiers, so my saving throws are my saving throws. For death rate or poison, a first level fighter, my saving throw is going to be 12, so I'll put that in. For magic wands, a first level fighter, my saving throw is going to be 13, so I'll put that in. For turn to stone or paralysis, a first level fighter, my saving throw is 14, so I'll mark that down. For dragon breath, a first level fighter, my saving throw is 15, so I'll go ahead and put that down. And then for spells or magical staff, my saving throw is going to be a 16, and so I'll mark that in. So now my basic character is pretty much complete. We've followed all the steps on page B5, well, with the exception of 14, which is, naming our character. But like I said, we're going to go through the Gazetteer, the Northern Reaches Gazetteer, because there's going to be specific names based on clan and things of that nature. But our character here, our versatile fighter, is pretty well complete. What we're going to do now is I'm going to switch books, right? We're going to put away the basic rule set book that we use, and we are going to now consult this book. We're going to consult the player section of this book to see 7 additional steps that we're going to take so that we can add the additional ability scores and give our character a background, flesh it out. Just like in 5e, where you're going to choose a character background and you're going to get skills and abilities based on that background. Same thing. Same here. We're going to get some additional skills and abilities, but we're also, just like in 5e, we're going to get some flaws, right? There are going to be some flaws that we're going to end up with, based on what we end up with. There's a couple different ways that you could do this. Your DM could either assign these to you, right? You could roll them randomly, or you could choose them. I think just for shits and giggles, just for fun, I'm going to roll them randomly because, again, you know that I love the dice gods. We're going to rub the dice god's head and we're going to see what I end up with. And it should be pretty fun. So let's actually bust open the book now and let's go through those steps. On page 9 of the player section, so it's not actually the 9th page in the book, but it's page 9 of the player section, is really, creating a Northman player character. It assumes that you've gone through and read all of the backgrounds and the lore and the legend and the history of the Northern Reaches. You're going to now create a Northman player character. Before you create the character from the Northlands, read through the entire playbook. I did, for the sake of saking, I'm not gonna, sit here and read the player portion of the Northern Reaches to you. But again, links will be below if you're interested to see what that actually looks like, what this Gazetteer is like. Links will be below to the this product on the DM's Guild, so you can check it out and see what you think. It wants you to use the basic rule set, or you could use the rule cyclopedia to build out a basic player character. We've already done that. Our basic player is a human fighter, so we've already covered step 1. Step 1 is complete. We've done that. So step 2, which again is marked as optional, but like I said, I'm going to go through all 7 of these steps just because I think it's really cool and I want to show you guys this. So we are going to do the optional determine your personality traits. And so to do that, we're going to follow the procedure described in the section of personality traits below. Your DM could assign these to you. You could choose them, or you could roll them randomly. I like the idea of rolling them randomly. So normally the DM would only roll randomly for personality traits if it's an NPC, right? Like if he's creating NPCs from the Northern Reaches, he would roll randomly to determine what these personality traits are. I kind of like rolling the dice. So here's what I'll say. I'm going to take courageous as a personality trait, and then I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll a 12-sided die for an additional trait, and we'll see how that comes out. So I'm going to pull out my handy dandy D12 because, unless you're a barbarian, you never actually get to roll a D12. So I'm going to pull out my D12. We're going to roll it. Well, first I'm going to roll the head of the dice god, and then I'm going to roll it. We're going to roll this D12. We're going to see what I get. So that's an 11. So that would be loyal. There are 12 different personality traits, and I rolled an 11. They're not actually numbered, but there are 12 of them, and I rolled 11. So I'm going to be courageous and loyal, which kind of works out well for me because I'm a super heroic character, and courageous and loyal fit me pretty well, right? I am Northman. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So let's go to the next step. Step 3 is going to be to determine my nationality, my clan, and my home domain. You could consult with your DM, and he could assign your nationality or your clan and your home domain, or he could allow you to choose them. If you are allowed to choose, pick from the charts on pages 13 and 14. So Questwise said that we could choose our nationality, our clan, and our home domain. So I'm going to look at 13 because I am an Ostlander. I am a well-rounded, super versatile fighter, but kind of a barbaric fighter, right? So here's the thing. In the Northern Reaches, Ostland is kind of out in the sticks, right? Vestland is much more settled. It's more civilized. That's not me, right? That is not me at all. I am a man of the North. I am an Ostlander. And so I'm going to be from Ostland. And I am going to be from Hammersholm. The head of my clan is Sigrid Halderson. And the Great Hall is Marmody. And the domains are Hammersholm. That's me. I am from Hammersholm. I am proudly from Hammersholm. I am loyal to a fault to Hammersholm. And I will not back down from a fight if you have anything bad to say about Hammersholm. That's me. That's who I am. So let's go on to the next step, which is going to be determining training, background, and beginning skills. This is what I was telling you earlier. I'm going to get some additional abilities and some additional skills based on, me being from Ostland, me being from Hammersholm, me being a fighter in the Northern Reaches, that sort of thing. And so to determine the experiences and skills learned by your character before you became an adventurer, you use the training background table. And if your character has an intelligence bonus, which, mine does not, you would get some additional skills, but I don't have any additional skills. So I'm going to flip flip over to the training background table, which is on page 16. So let's just go through the steps, right? Step A, if the character is a fighter, elf, or dwarf, the 2 class-related skills are Fighting Instinct and Intimidate. So I know I am a fighter. My 2 skills are Fighting Instinct and Intimidate, which actually really fit my character quite well, right? So I'm going to mark that down. Later on, I'll go through and again, like I said, I'm going to fix my character sheet. I'll add this to my other notes and I'll add this to my skills and abilities and that sort of thing. Like I'll fill out my character fully with these particular skills. But for right now, I'm just marking these down on a sheet of paper. And then at the end, I'll show you the entire character sheet after it's like all been filled out, and it's totally cool. So I know that my 2 class related skills are Fighting Instinct and Intimidate. Background skills for fighter, elf, dwarf, thief, or halfling characters. So this is my background, not my class, but based on who I am, right? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to roll 2d4 to determine training background. And if the character is from a seacoast or river clan, it's -1 to the roll. If from a landlocked clan, it's +1 to the roll. I am from Ostland. I know that I'm landlocked. I'm going to roll 2d4 and I'm going to add +1 to the roll. So whatever this roll is, I'm going to add +1 and it's going to tell me what it is. And it looks like a 7. This one rolled off here, just to show you like that I'm not cheating. This one rolled off, so it's a 7 + 1 is 8. That is going to make me a merchant / trader. So my background skills for that, I'm going to know market values. Essentially, I was a merchant or a trader at some point before I started my adventuring career. Or maybe I still am, right? Like when I build out my background, maybe we'll build that into it. Maybe I am a traveling merchant or trader or a fur trader of some sort, and I go out into the wild and I trap these things and then I trade for them. But the thing is, I know market value of goods. You can't get one over on me, right? I'm also good at persuading and deceiving, right? Because I'm a salesman. Clearly, I'm a salesman, so I'm going to be good at persuading you to do things that you don't want to do, and plus I'm also going to be good at deceiving you into believing that something is more valuable than it is, or less valuable than it is, or what have you. Gain trust. I'm going to be a trustworthy dude. People are going to totally trust me. And horsemanship, which is always a good skill and ability to have, right? And again, that's going to play into my character background. We're going to use this to build out my character's background and who he is. So we've now have my skills. So my background skills based on the fact that I was a merchant / trader at some point, or even still am, right? Like maybe I am a trading adventurer. I go out and adventure to pick up new and exciting things that I can trade within the larger cities. When I go into Vestland, I come in out of the wilderness of Ostland and then I trade all of these cool things that I've found. But we know that I have fighting instinct, that I have intimidate, and I have these abilities that are related to my background profession as well. So let's go on to the next step. Step 5 is going to be to determine my social class and family status, right? This is going to be interesting. I don't know that I want to roll for this. I almost want to pick it because if he ends up being like a noble, it's going to be crazy. I'll have to come up with some sort of backstory as to why he disowned his family or gave up his family name. But, for the sake of saking, right? For trusting the dice gods, I am going to go ahead and roll and we're going to see what's going to happen. So basically, I'm going to use the social class and family status tables on page 20 to record my social class and family status, and then I'm going to make a note of the heyday gifts. Remember, I was saying earlier when we were rolling for gold when I was creating the character that I might get heyday gifts, which are inheritances or, things that have been bequeathed to you based on your social family and status. So I might, right now I have 8 gold pieces left, but I might have more or some sort of artifact or item, but we're going to find out. So we're on page 20 and we're ready to figure out what my family status is. A young Northlander's reputation rests firmly upon the reputation of his or her immediate family. Roll 1d100, so I'm going to roll percentage dice to determine my status, and then write down, I'll get like a charisma modifier. So this might actually bring my charisma up, which would be a good thing because I'm a merchant and a trader, but I really don't have any bonuses to charisma. But, who knows, right? Like the dice gods could smile upon me. So let me pull out my handy dandy percentage dice and we're going to go ahead and make this roll and we're going to see what my family status is. Wait, first. I gotta rub the dice god's head, and now let's go ahead and roll it. Okay, so it looks like a 16. A 16 is going to put me at respected. Not bad. I'm respected, which is going to give me a +1 in terms of charisma. So that's why I was saying this basic character may get revised. And so I'm not flat on charisma. I'm actually +1 to charisma. So I'm just going to make that notation. So I'll know that going forward. Again, I'm going to clean this sheet up with all of the stuff that, the modifications that we've made. And then I'll show it to you at the end once we're done. But let's go on to the next step. Okay, so next I have to roll for my heyday gift. So this is going to be what whatever my inheritance was, or, you know, things of that nature. I come from a respected family, but they might not be respected because they were rich or well off or whatever. So I'm going to roll for my heyday gift. And again, this is going to be D100, so a percentile dice. Let me rub the head of the dice god here, and we'll roll and see what I end up with. That looks like a 53. So a 53 puts me at a typical free man, right? So that's going to be 20 plus 1 D10 worth of gold. So I'm going to roll my D10 now, and we'll see, you know, I add 20 to that. That's my additional gold. So it's going to be 6. So I have an additional 26 gold pieces, which I'll add to my 8 gold pieces, and that's going to be my starting wealth. I actually have an idea that's going to play into my backstory as well. So I'm going to end up with 35 starting gold, which, to be honest with you, 35 starting gold puts me in a really good place. I'm super happy with this character so far. And this is the scary part, right? Like, this is where the negatives are going to come into play. Keep in mind, again, that this is optional. You don't have to do this, or your DM could assign it, but I don't care. Like, again, the statistics and abilities don't really mean jack to me. I mean, if you can play D&D, you can play D&D. I actually think that flaws encourage better roleplay, so I don't mind having negative modifiers, but this one can be kind of scary. Like, there's some deep and serious, you know, stat modifiers in this particular section, right? So step 6, it says to use the 4 tables on page 20 to 22 to discover important biographical details that may affect your character's abilities or possessions. Some of these details may affect previously determined characteristics. Some of these could adjust them up, some of these could adjust them down, but most of them are super, like, serious, right? And here's the thing, you can't roll on just one table. If you're going to choose to do this, if you're going to choose this optional technique, you have to roll on all, and we're going to abide by that. Let's go to page 20. So here it sort of runs through the optional tables on the next 2 pages indicate significant events that happen to your Northern Reaches character. These tables are only to be used in character creation, and once a character has begun earning experience points in the adventuring life, you can't use these tables anymore. So in other words, what you can't do is build your character out, build up some experience, and build up some better hit points, and then run through the tables to try to get additional ones. No, if you want the good, you have to take the bad, right? And so, like, we're gonna do it. I'm good with this. Step 1 is going to be to roll first on the afflictions and accidents table on page 21. Bad news first, right? And so I have to change any abilities as directed. So we're going to do that, right? Again, this is going to be another D100 roll, a percentile dice based roll. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my D100. I'm going to pray to the dice gods, and I'm going to roll the D100, and we're going to see what sort of affliction that I've had in my past, right? So here we go. I got to hold the page down to make it flat so you guys can see. All right, so that looks like an 88. An 88 is going to give me good fortune and perfect health. So, okay, so actually, my character is, like, he's killing it, right? Like, I had no affliction. I had no good fortune, perfect health. I am a fantastic trader and merchant and have been living a great life, super courageous and loyal, and the dice god smiled on me for it. So, okay, next up is going to be important past experiences table. This is on page 22 of the Northern Reaches. I have to roll 4d6, and as a fighter, I'm going to subtract 3. So, I'm going to pull my 4d6, I'm going to rub the dice god's head, and I'm going to roll 4d6, subtract 3, and it's going to tell me what my important past experiences are. So here we go. I got to hold the book flat. So 12, but I subtract 3, so 12 minus 3 is 9. A 9 to 19, no benefit. So, like, it evened out. I have no negative modifiers, but in terms of important past experiences, I have no positive modifiers. So next up is going to be the character building table. And the character building table, I'm going to roll a d20, and none of my traits can be raised above 15. So here's what could happen. I could have my courage or my loyalty reduced. I can't increase them any further. This is just going to be a reduction, but, you know, I'm going to do it. So here we go. That's a 1. So I was betrayed by a close friend. So my loyalty takes a -2. So my loyalty can be reduced. My loyalty was a 19. It's now sitting at a 17. But that's cool because I'm going to build that into my backstory, right? Like being betrayed. That's going to help me build out my backstory a little bit more. And then the last step is going to be the combat experience. Like, let's see how much combat experience I have. This is going to be a 4d4 minus 3 for fighters. Really, when do you ever roll 4d4? I have my 44. I'm going to subtract 3 from the roll, remember, because I'm a fighter, and we're going to figure out just how much combat experience I have. So let's rub the dice god's head. I'm going to go ahead and roll my 44, but remember, I'm going to subtract 3. So here we go. That looks like 4, 6, 9, 11. I ended up with 11, but I'm going to subtract 3, so that's going to give me an 8, and it looks like 8 through 17, no combat experience. I had a really great life. I'm not sure how I got betrayed, but I got betrayed somehow. I'm going to build a backstory for my character who has no combat experience at this point and who really just led like this great life, but is super courageous and super loyal. That's the dice rolling portion of the process. The last step is really to pick a name. On page 23, naming Northland characters, they go through this whole list of male names and female names and nicknames. So I'm going to go through and pick a name that I think fits me. So I think for my name, I'm going to take Hengist. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but my last name is Hengst, which actually in German means stallion. So I'm going to take Hengist, which really fits, right? So it fits me, but it also fits my character. So my name is going to be Hengist, and I think I'm going to be Hengist Horsehead, right? So like, again, in German, Hengst is stallion. I have the horseman ability. I got the horseman ability as a trader and a merchant. So I think I'm going to be Hengist Horsehead, which is kind of cool because I think I'll use that as a family crest, sort of that stallion family crest, which is actually my family crest. I think that like Hengist Horsehead is my character. Hengist Horsehead from Hammersholm. There's a ring to that. The alliteration is kind of awesome. I'm going to add all of my abilities and skills and any modifications that I need to make. I'm going to build out a backstory based on me being from Ostland, from Hammersholm, the fact that I'm a merchant and a trader, taking into account the fact that a close friend at some point betrayed me, or perhaps it was a family member. I don't know. Stay tuned. And I'm going to fix this all out, and then I'll present to you my character, and I'll give you my background and my backstory, and you guys can see what you think. So let's cut for now, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so I've gone back through, and I've cleaned everything up. I've filled it all out. I've built out a background for my character. So my character's name is Hengist Horsehead. I am a lawful fighter, level 1, armor class of 4, hit points are 7. I placed next to my ability scores exactly what they do. So 16 strength, +2 in melee, so +2 to hit and +2 to damage in melee combat, and +2 to opening doors, intelligence of 9, which leaves me flat, a wisdom of 11, which leaves me flat, 14 dexterity, which will give me +1 to hit with missile weapons, -1 for armor class, which is how I ended up with an armor class of 4, even though I have chainmail, which is an armor class of 5, and then +1 to any initiative rolls. For my 15 constitution, I'm ending up with 1 additional hit point, which puts me at 7 hit points. I rolled a 6, I added the 1, I got a 7, and a charisma of 10, which normally would be flat, but I'm actually getting a +1 for specific skills and abilities, but also a +1 to reaction. My saving throws are all filled out. I filled out my THAC0 for both melee and missile, so ME is melee, MI is missile. There's one difference between the two. I filled in my equipment: backpack, 12 iron spikes, 50 feet of rope, 1 large sack, 2 small sacks, a tinderbox, a wineskin, iron rations for 2 weeks, 6 torches, and a small hammer. And then I also put in my weapons, but I also put in my modifiers to my weapons. So for my sword, it's 1d8 +2 to both to hit and damage. For my longbow, it's 1d6 +1 to hit, because again, based on my dexterity modifier. And then my arrows, so between 5 to 70 feet with my longbow, I'm actually getting a +1 modifier to hit. So that would actually make it +2 if I was within short range. Regular, standard range 71 to 140 feet, I'm getting no modifier. And then at long range, 141 to 210 would be -1, which actually would put me at a 0 because I have a +1. And then of course my armor, which is chainmail. I added my skills: fighting instinct, intimidate, no market value, persuade, deceive, gain trust, horsemanship. Those abilities work as a roll under, which we'll get into. I'm going to do an entire video on the roll under mechanic. The roll under mechanic is phenomenal and I love it. But anyway, just know that those are going to be roll under if you're wondering how those work. And my experience points are now 0. My bonus to earned experience points is going to be +5%. So at the end of the adventure, when Questwise is tabulating up the experience points, I'll get an additional 5% based on my 16 strength, which is my prime requisite. And I need 2,000 experience points for the next level. I did go ahead and add my heyday gift to my 8 original gold, which brings me to 35 gold pieces to start the game, which is phenomenal. It kind of makes me rich, but I sort of tied that into my backstory. And so my background really ends up as this. I hail from Ostland, where I led a fairly easy life as the eldest son of the largest fur trader in Hammersholm. But upon my 18th name day, my father announced that he was bequeathing my birthright and the family business to my younger brother Otto, as I was too soft and complacent in his eyes to carry on the family name. And this really cut me to the core. And so I've set out, determined to make my own name in the world, no matter what it takes. And so I'm actually good with this backstory. I think it fits the character really well. I honestly cannot wait to play this character. I can't wait to actually start the game. I had a hell of a time. I really had fun going through and creating this character. I can't wait for this game to kick off. If you have any questions about about the character creation or the decisions that I made or the mechanics that I use or any of these books, hit me up in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to walk you through them. So if you have any questions on, basic character creation in the basic rulebook, the Moldvay rules, hit me up in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer them. If you have any questions about the Gazetteer, because I know that this might have been new for a lot of you, if you have any questions on either the tables or how you go through creating characters within this Gazetteer, hit me up in the comments below. Also, keep in mind, if you're interested in either of these books, right? If you're interested in either of these books, there will be links below in the description to the Moldvay Basic Rule Set as a PDF on DM's Guild and the Northern Reaches Gazetteer. There will be links in the description down below for either the print-on-demand version that I have or the PDF version, whichever one you're interested in. I do encourage you to pick these up, though. I do encourage you to click through on the links down below. Full disclosure, keep in mind that those are affiliate links, so if you do click through on any of the links below and you make a purchase, I'll get a small stipend that I'll use for more items to buy and review on this channel. But I do encourage you to go check it out. BX is a great game. It's the one that I prefer to play and that I want to play a lot more of. So again, I'm super excited that Questwise is running this BX game. Speaking of that, there will also be links down below in the description to Questwise's YouTube channel. If you're not following Questwise, go follow Questwise right now on YouTube. The link will be down below. There will also be links down below to Dave at DravenSwiftbow, his channel. He's playing in the game as well. If you're not following him, go follow him. But there'll also be links down below to Eric Bloat's YouTube channel, and actually a link down below to this book. He actually created this book. This is a great rule system. If you haven't picked this up, this is really kind of cool. This is sort of that Stranger Things D&D, which is really, really, really awesome. Dark Places and Demogorgons. There'll be a link down below for this on Drive-Thru RPG, as well as a link to Eric Bloat's channel. Absolutely go check that channel out. I actually, one of the reasons I'm looking forward to playing this game is to sort of pick his brain about a lot of stuff. So go follow all of the links down below. Make sure you follow Questwise. Make sure you follow DravenSwiftbow. Make sure you follow Eric Bloat. All the links will be down below. One more thing before we go. One more thing. So this week, I want to call out RPG Crate. So here's the thing. I did a review of RPG Crate, specifically the December RPG Crate loot box a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'll leave a link to that video, that RPG Crate review down below as well. But the folks at RPG Crate actually saw that video and loved it. And they reached out to me and said, hey, we're redesigning our website. We'd love to feature your video on our website. And they did, right? If you go to the new RPG Crate website, which looks phenomenal, by the way, you'll see that it's yours truly is the video down at the bottom. That is my review of the December unboxing. And I just thought it was really cool. And I want to give them a shout out. Also, they did reach out and they said that they're bringing in some new items. And they wanted to know if I would be interested in reviewing those items as well. And I said, heck yeah, of course I would. So watch for that. Watch for new videos coming along for new items that are going to be on the RPG Crate website. Go to the RPG Crate website. If you're not a subscriber to RPG Crate, I'm going to tell you from personal experience right now, it is the best RPG related loot crate out there now. It is one that I subscribe to. I have been subscribed to RPG Crate since season 2, episode 2. I recommend RPG Crate to anyone that's looking to fill out their RPG collection. They have a ton of great stuff, a lot of stuff that you can pull into your game. It's all 5e compatible, and if you're not running a 5e game, you can still use the maps, the descriptions, the adventure hooks. It's just a really, really great loot crate. Go to RPG Crate. First of all, go to RPG Crate and tell them how awesome it is that Roll Stats video is on their website, but also subscribe to RPG Crate because it is a great, great, great subscription box. It's a great loot box. They're phenomenal. So you're going to find links to RPG Crate down below. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a blast for me to make. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I have making it. I can't wait to start this game. I'll give you updates of the game as it rolls along. I don't know that Questwise is planning on filming it. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a live game and that we're going to stream it or that he's going to put it up on YouTube at all or not. But I do promise you that I'll come back and I'll let you know how the game is going for sure. So go follow all the links below. Go click on all the stuff. If you liked this video, I really do like it, share it. Share it with your gaming group. Share it with your friends. Let's just grow the Roll Stats community. I love you guys. I love this community. You guys are my favorite part of the day. I love living in the comments. Please do leave me comments. And as always, may the dice roll ever in your favor.